Hi guys, right, this is just going to be a quick one, designated episode 3 of my tips and tricks to answer the question I get asked the most, which is about which order to upgrade buildings, i.e. which buildings to prioritise on the upgrades. So this is kind of leading on from episode 2, which was more about effective defence, um, but in this one, so I'll go into more detail about some of the not so hidden purposes of the buildings, faction alignment, different options you got there, logistics for units, upgrading and repairing, because some people are still confused about those, um, as well as sort of what I've done to basically get so many of my buildings maxed relatively easily. Um, So start off with, I'll also go into spec ops, which I see people talking about a lot. Well, see my guys talking about a lot. So these are the only ones I use: Top Shelf, It's Electric, Artemis Motel. Those are my top three. Occasionally, if I've got a lot to do in my workshop, I'll use Master Loot for the increased resource. I have got one lights on, which I've never used. I'm just keeping it there in case it's ever needed. Um, but aside from that, it's only those three that I'll use. And again, I'll rarely ever use It's Electric. Right, so that's what you should be looking into in terms of spec ops. Right, moving forward, some of the key buildings. What I started off with doing was working on the foundation buildings for units such as the airfield, barracks, and war factory, as well as the academy, the hangar, and the tech center there. Right. On the subject of the tech center, I'll go into unit upgrade logistics so I can get this working again. So once you set a unit to upgrade, what you'll see is the logistics button right there. That will show what logistics you've got. Right, you apply those logistics. Sometimes it works like that. Other times you might have to go onto the map and back in once it's saved, and basically it will do the same thing as the repair logistics. It will just sort of go into the map and back in to catch up with itself. Right. Obviously now I need to upgrade my tech center. Fun. Um, what was I gonna work on? I can't even fucking remember now. Right. Do that in a minute. So, uh, in terms of the foundation buildings, obviously now that you've seen the, I'll tell you what, fuck it. Repair logistics, as you can see, I got hit quite a lot yesterday. But these are obviously your repair logistics, any that are relevant, like you'll see there, that's the survivors repair. That'll take off quite a lot of the repair. You use that, go into the map, back into your base, and it should have been applied. So again, those are straightforward. If you're ever not sure, you can go onto a repaired platoon, like one of your air plats, and you can see what you've got. So obviously you can have a maximum of 3 of any one type, and 6 total different logistics. Right, now back to these buildings. So production. As you level up each building, obviously you will unlock a different unit you can use to defend your base when you get hit. So it's not exactly a new concept now, so again, this video is mainly for people just coming back to the game or new starters. But yeah, I'm using envoys there because like I said, they got long range. They help with the slow mo or cryo effect against infantry. Anybody using devout, which obviously works with those as well, because obviously they can take a beating long range. They're a good distraction, so it works. Artemis for infantry helps against high altitude. That's a mid-range unit between the Buzzsaw and the Seraphs. But personally, Seraphs haven't got enough range, Buzzsaws haven't got enough health, they just die instantly. Buzzsaws, I'm told, are slightly better against the legendary Phantom, but the Phantoms die in my base fast enough anyway, it doesn't really warrant a change. So onto War Factory, production there, obviously caretakers. If you don't get into my base fast enough, then you won't get into it at all. So as soon as a few of these start spawning, and I can put them around the edges, covering some of my watchtowers, if they go down, the units inside can still fire, or covering the few defenders that I've got. Right. So those are three of the key buildings there. Obviously your hangar, tech center, and academy. Tech center and academy, you've got last stand. As you level up the building, you can have different units coming in there to defend your base when that building goes down. Hangar hasn't quite got that yet, but you need to upgrade those for being able to upgrade your units all the way. So those are the buildings I started with. However, that was before obviously not so recent Command Center 16 release, where obviously my tech center was maxed and now it isn't. Same with the hangar, that had a few extra levels since the last time I upgraded it. But now obviously we've had Gen 2 out for a while, so these I would definitely advise to make priority. So for Gen 2 you've got power plants, which when you click to upgrade, obviously you got advanced structure there, and you have the choice between deep reactor and the fusion tower. You can see the difference there at max level. Now, yes, deep reactors have resistance against air units, but that does not warrant using them when you're getting a quarter of the power output and a third of the overall armor. So that's why I've gone with the fusion towers. Yes, they explode, but keep them far enough away from your defense, and they make a very good diversion. So, other Gen 2 buildings, you've got your Metal Forge, which obviously is relatively tough to take down, especially if you're lower level, and increased resource generation rate. If you've got these at a low level, or you're just coming back to the game and need to upgrade a shitload, those will definitely help sustain you. So the way that works is basically stops you going out to farm resources as much. But again, if you're doing a shitload of stuff in your workshop, for example, that's where Master Loot comes in. Right, the twin of that is the oil derrick for, exactly the same thing, just for oil instead of metal. And last for the Generation 2 is the platform. So obviously you can have 3 advanced platforms. I went into these on the episode 2 tips and tricks video, so if you need a recap you can go into those there. The only one worth using is plated, as you can tell by the difference at max level. The other two are just useless. So get everything to Generation 2 and then upgrade it. Right, then you can start working on basically whatever else you wanted to, whether it's the infantry buildings or things like the go-go bar. Right, go-go bar, plus 48% defender damage, plus 50% faster defender repair. So your base plat repairs faster and does more damage. Can't complain at that. Alright, defense lab, another key unit. Get that max as soon as you can, because when it's max level, you've got 20% less damage in combat. So obviously, base plat takes 20% less damage. Also means you can get to the highest level of turrets. So once you've got all your support turrets, all your missiles maxed out, your defense rockets, get all of those maxed out, obviously in those silos you want to use either Earthshatter or Patriot. If you still use Achilles GS, you are a moron. Look at this, 333,000 DPS. Alright, yes, you got a bit more range, but it only hits uniques. These, 1.9 million. Same again, 1.9 million. These two are exactly the same, they just target ground and air differently. So, Icarus only for missiles, Achilles just a waste of time. Alright, work on those two. Sweet. Then you got your command turrets. Again, if you use stealth, personally I'd say you're a moron, but it does have some uses, which again goes into the last tips and tricks video I made, so go and check that one out if you are unsure. Right, and then obviously you can see everything else. Right, so the radio tower is another one I would advise to do pretty quick, because once you've got level 10, or well, I think it's level 9, you can see inside other people's watchtowers or strongholds, whatever they use in their bunkers. But until you get it leveled up, you can only sort of see, well, you can only scout their base without a plat B in there, or just see what's basically hidden around the base, not actually what's inside any of the drone silos or anything else. There we go. Sorry, bit of headset trouble there. Right, so moving on from there, drone silos. Command Center 16 came out, got a few extra levels when you get these maxed out. Everything inside basically lasts longer once the drone silo goes down. It doesn't die straight away. So, depending on what you got in there, obviously the only logical thing to have in there is the Yellow Jackets and the Hornets. And obviously I use a few wing drones just for the shock tech. Yeah, upgrading that, well, also increases its range, which I should have mentioned. But yeah, as soon as that drone silo dies, if it's level 15, I think, was the max level before, drone silo goes down, so do the drones. Once you get it leveled up, drone silo goes down, drones keep attacking. Storage building, that's obviously an obvious one. You know, increased storage capacity as well as maxed out platoon capacity. And I think obviously everything else is straightforward. You know, you got your 2 helipads, upgrade those to get your 3,000 capacity on your second 2 air plats. And I think that's just about it. Workshop is an obvious one. Upgrade that, and you can get. Come on. There we go. Tech replication, which personally I think is fucking useless because it takes way too long. Right? But once you got it maxed out, you can get Generation 3 rare tech. Well, you can make it basically, but it takes like 18 hours for one bit of tech. You can just do some medal bases and buy it from the gear store, or wait until an event if it's there. So yeah, obviously the first thing you should work on is the command center. I probably should have said that at the start, but you know, it's pretty straightforward, guys. It's just, you know, every building has its use. So whatever you want to upgrade, the only thing I can really advise is starting with the Generation 2 and working backwards. Alright. And at the same time, pick one building and don't touch anything else until that building is maxed. Hence why having a maxed out command center will benefit you, because it means you're not being held back by anything aside from maybe storage capacity. So maybe get your storage up as well. But once you've got 700,000 capacity on resources, you should be all good. Right, so pick one building. Say you picked the radio tower, for example. Say you had it at level 3. Alright, if you pick that building, get it to level 10. Don't upgrade anything else. It's boring, it's tedious, it sucks, but once you get there, you can ignore it. That's one building done. Right, when that building's done, you pick something else. Maybe your thorium mine, or one of your helipads, whatever you want to upgrade. Just pick it, even if it's a watchtower. Pick it, upgrade it. Don't touch anything else till it's done. Alright, so that's all I can really say about the buildings. It's entirely up to you guys what you guys feel you need more. But every building has its use. Right. So one of the other things I was going to go into on this video is TEX, which I will go into shortly. I'll just go through some of the factions. Right. If you're still set to neutral, then there's just no point in being neutral now. Survivors I use mainly because of aces. A lot of rogue bases, or a lot of bases in general. Once you've used, say, a combination of any of the 3 units, or unit alignments, unit faction, whatever, you can normally clean up with aces, right? Or if you're just using a full plat of aces to start with, you can get the survivor faction bonus, right? Each one is slightly different, but they all have loyalty, right? So 10% reduced damage. So if you're using a full plat of aces and all you've got in the attack is survivors, then you get 10% less damage. Right. This also works for defense, but if you're using it for defense, it means you can't have any other faction defending your base, and for the war production as well. Everything has to be set to one faction. I had that confirmed by Kixeye. So, there's just no point having it for defense or worrying about it for defense, because, let's see what the options are. So the only thing you can do there would be Bonesaw if you were survivors, right? Here you could have your buzzsaws, which isn't so bad based on what I said before. And more production, you got hammers, technicals, or disruptors. So again, you'd have to have all of that set to survivors, and it's just not worth it. Right. So in terms of the difference between the factions in terms of their traits, Warlust. Survivor units deal more damage the more units of any type die in combat. This damage bonus is capped at 100% and is reset when the battle instance ends. So again, 100% increased damage. For Corpus, Corpus units will not take 15% more than 15% of their maximum health in damage. So basically, whatever's firing at you, if it doesn't do enough, more than 15% of the total unit damage in that shot, it's basically just neglected. So kind of useful, but in some ways not really worth a second thought. Alright, Devotion. Sentinel units are immune to all negative status effects. Again, straightforward, But again, for that, you would only have, you'd only be able to use Sentinel units, nothing else. Right, so that covers unit factions and which faction you want to align with. Obviously, again, it's your choice, but you also get different command center with each one. Pretty useless though. Right, so nearly done with all of that. So yeah, just really the text I was going to go into now. Right, so if you click on your airfield, war factory, or barracks, you can get to training. Right, it's the last tab there. These are your TEX tokens. Right, for each unit, you gather tokens, as you all know. Right, I've got 20 purifier tokens there. Let's scrap all of those, and I get 40 TEX points. Right, that's now gone up to 180. If I scrap these ones as well, these ones, I've already got Apollo's max level. I just bought them from the gear store to get rid of them. Right, that's another 110 TEX points. Right, that's now put me up to 290. Right, Generation 2, all of those I've got max level. I've got most of my Generation 3 max level, but not quite all of it. Escorts, for example, max level, so I'll scrap those, and I can use them. Right, Generation 3 are the most valuable, Generation 2 slightly less, Generation 1 least valuable. Right, so what you get back from scrapping tokens will be more for Generation 3. The cost of buying Generation 3 tokens is also somewhat higher, as you can imagine. Right, if you're unsure, Manticores, for example, I know I've got those max level, but if I wasn't sure, I can just go there and check, straight back, and get rid of those. That's another 48 points, or TEX tokens. Right, Cerberus, I know I've got those max level. Where's it gone? There it is, level 20. So, get rid of those. See, I'm already up to 410. Right, all the other bits there that I've got tokens for, I know I need to keep because they're not quite max level. So, where am I at with these? Oh yeah, everything's maxed. Surprise, surprise, surprise. My vehicles, however, I am behind on. So, right, Overseers, level 19. I need 10 tokens, so might as well work on that. So, since I'm low on Overseer tokens, I can now buy some. Right, you can see it's 40 TEX points for a token. But, just like that, by scrapping all the excess I had, right, I can now buy those 10 tokens and max out Overseers. So that is the advantage to using the TEX system, right? If you've got maxed out units and you still have all of these tokens that you can buy, 55 of each, get on those medal bases, get all of these tokens that you can, and just scrap them. Scrap them in for TEX, catch up on your Generation 3 stuff. Or if you haven't got them maxed out yet, you can see, you know, how cheap some of them are. Liberators, Detonators, Acolytes, Spartans, all of those are 8,000 per token, right? They cost literally fuck all to get them, and once you've bought 55 of each, they disappear, so you haven't got to look at them again either. Right, so use those to get your units maxed out, and then once you've got them there, any excess tokens you've got, sell to TEX, and use it to, obviously, as I said, catch up, you know? It's really not that tricky, because now any other, like, say I'm doing Sentinel token bases, any other tokens I get for Overseers, I can scrap into TEX and use it on something else now, you know, until everything is up to date, and yeah, just one at a time, catching up. So, I think that's just about everything I wanted to go into. Let me just double check. I have had people asking me about different setups for tech in your workshop. I'll go into a couple of these, but I really don't want to be on it for long because most of it is just common sense. You know, unique units, for the most part, you've got one item per slot, you know, so you've got 3 bits of tech. Once you hit Omega, you know, you can have all 3. Until then, just see which one is more useful. Right? That's entirely at your discretion. When you get to, let's have an example. I think Nova. No, because that's just the war paint. Which ones was it? Right. War rig. Not that anybody uses that anymore. You do have a choice on weapon. Or, sorry, with the slots you've got, you can't have everything. So the one I leave out is weapon. Because that still takes up space. What the fuck am I doing? Alright. This one's just, as I said, an example. So, obviously I'm at the 2000 capacity with everything else, and the mounted flamethrower takes up 500, so that's the least useful overall. That's the one I've left off. Right, that one is awesome. So, in terms of unique units, that's what you got to do. Just focus on the bits of tech that are going to make the biggest difference. Actually, sharpshooters are a pain in the ass to try and explain. So, let's go with aces. Right, obviously last time I looked into these I had somewhat less tech. I think I still do, to be fair. So, you got choice of 2 for every unit. All you got to do is just pick, again, which one is most useful, right? Turning speed or movement speed. Right, they turn fast enough anyway, so you don't need to worry about turning speed. So, that just leaves movement speed. Right, this is all you got to do for each one. Heavy payload, 20% splash, or shot set fire, set target on fire. Right, benefits to both. So maybe split between 2 schematics. Right, for now, obviously I don't have any of those napalm ones, and I don't have any of those splash ones. Kamikaze training, giant explosion on death based on percentage of health at combat start. So use them like suicide bombers, or make them reload and fire faster. That's, again, an easy choice. So you go for that one. And literally, guys, that's all you do for every unit. Just compare the two. Sometimes, both are good options. I'm trying to remember an example of one of those. So, problem is I haven't used these units in so fucking long that I can't remember half of them. Right, breachers, I know I had multiple options for those. So you've got an anti-air, you've got a corrosion, and you've got, anti-infantry, anti-air, and corrosion. Reason being for these ones, yeah, was it these ones? No, there is ammo. So dragon's breath, slugs, and acid rounds. Right, some do corrosion damage. That allows them to target air, and that does fire damage. So basically, it's like infantry, vehicles, and air units. With that, obviously this platoon I'll keep in my armory just for when somebody's taking the piss and I decide to flatten their base with a Gen 2 plat, which is always hilarious. But that's why, again, you got to be careful when you're picking tech, because sometimes all 3 options are a good one. So you have 3 different schematics, but generally speaking, you can always find just one that is obviously the best layout you can have for it. Okay, so obviously I know nobody uses Generation 2 anymore, really, but that was just an example. Actually, controllers being a recent one. So as you can see back then, I've got two schematics, one for thermite drones, one for EMP drones. Right. These ones also have signal hijack, because I was setting those up for my base defenders against the hive, and long range antenna. So obviously increased damage at max range, is it? Or I can't even remember what that one does. Yeah, 15% damage at max range. Alright. For this one, the choice is pretty clear. Lowest chance of overkill. Overkill is basically, because it's a slow-paced projectile, it means that the drone will follow whatever it's firing at, instead of just, say, the first drone killing the unit and the second drone just disappearing. Right? The second drone, if the first drone kills the unit, the second drone will then go past and hit something else. Right? So it basically improves efficiency there. But defensive posture is nowhere near as good, so that's the choice that was made. Right, so that's just about it. I'm not going to go into any more because I think I've been talking for long enough now and you guys are probably bored. But now you should know a lot more about what to do in your base. And for the TEX system, which for people just coming back to the game, or new starters, you really want to be paying attention to that, because that will help you catch up, right? Especially using the right ops, and as I said, making use of these tokens, right? Just get them all in, whether you use them or scrap them, it's up to you, but get them max level first if I were you, and then use any excess to build up your TEX limit. Alright, nice and simple, so I'm going to call it there, guys, and I hope this one's helped.